The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of AM 640.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Check pressurization. Box tanking. Have a braking power level work. You are go. Motor systems go. Range operations. Mercury capsule go. 20 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Roger. Backup clock is started.
Extreme radio for extreme times. This is A View from Space with the Spaceman. AM 640.
Hi, welcome to A View from Space. I'm the guy they call Space. I want to welcome you in if you're listening to AM 640 right now, driving around town or at work listening. I welcome you in. Or if you're checked into Shaw Direct on channel 865, picking up the signal there, I welcome you in also. Or if you're listening to me on your 3 or 4G personal communication device via the Stream the World software, I welcome you in. Or if you're where some say is the best seat in-house, check out A View from Space, sitting in front of your Mac or your PC, logged on to 640toronto.com, picking up the live audio streaming there. I welcome you in also. Wherever you are in the world, I welcome you in. The last few shows on A View from Space on AM 640 Talk Radio, I've been speaking about the motion picture industry and revealing some absolutely never heard before information on the public airwaves. The email response has been, in a word, awesome. So many people's eyes are now being opened to what Hollywood really is. Last week, I made the premise and backed it up with hard evidence that Hollywood stars and celebrities are actually bred like thoroughbred racehorses. Think about that for a moment. That's why they marry so often and to so many different stars marrying stars. It's the purity of the bloodline. And I also explained why the British monarchy had in place a system whereby new blood and DNA can be channeled through this star system into their own bloodlines, because you can only breed incestuously in your family for so long, and then of course everything breaks down. There is no more sanity left. There is no more health left. And if you research royal families, you'll find a myriad of health problems that they have been in the past afflicted with. And who knows what they really have today. Now, this was all spurred on by the actual ritual death of Heath Ledger, who actually died at the very, very same date as Bérenger Saunière, who is, of course, at the center of the Rennes-le-Château myth that Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene, at first, Jesus Christ escapes the cross, did not actually die on the cross in Jerusalem, but escapes it, takes Mary Magdalene with him, marries her, and the Merovingian bloodline is born. Mary Magdalene, M.M., Those initials scream through Hollywood. Marilyn Monroe. There are so many MM relations that are directly associated with Mary Magdalene, who is the goddess of goddesses, who will one day, it will be through black magic and science, a mixture of both, that will actually prove that Mary Magdalene had children fathered by Jesus Christ. And one of those, of that purest bloodline, is going to be the Antichrist. The whole system is built around this personage. I've been speaking, too, about C.S. Lewis in the last few weeks, and also J.R.R. Tolkien, and their relationship with one another. Yes, they knew one another and were actually in the same secret society together, going to college in England, at Oxford. Now, it just happens that the timing is incredible, as I've been speaking about these two. And just this past week, this past Monday, news broke that Peter Jackson's two-film adaptation of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit is now nailed down with release dates. New Line Cinema, Warner Brothers, and MGM announced that The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, will be released December 14th of next year, 2012. The sequel to that, The Hobbit and An Unexpected Journey, called The Hobbit There and Back Again, is to be released December 13th, 2013. Now, we're told there have been many repeated delays over studio funding problems, threatened actors boycotts, Jackson's health, studio funding problems, all mere exes, because numerology, astrology, and sacred geometry are the three guides for the Illuminati and their great work, building this coming Antichrist empire that will be the last empire the world sees. We are right at the precipice of falling into this empire. It is almost completely built. They will be in 3D, these Hobbit films, and they will, of course, tell the story of this coming empire. So many people don't understand that this movie industry is really actually not for your entertainment at all, but it is to condition you to be ready for what's to come. And they've been doing it for a long time, unbeknownst to so many people, but it's shows like this, with information like this, which actually open people's eyes. Now, Heath Ledger was a blood sacrifice. Bérenger Saunière, who is at the center of the Rennes-le-Château myth, as I spoke earlier tonight here in the open. On January 22nd, both men died, that very same date. Numerology, astrology, and sacred geometry are their guides. The death date, January 22nd, for Heath Ledger and Bérenger Saunière, is exactly 92 years apart. Yes, you're correct. An 11. An 11 is assigned to events that are totally dedicated to aiding the rising of the Antichrist system. So you can rest assured the Heath Ledger death and the Bérenger Saunière death on January 22nd was precisely as the Illuminati ordered. Coming back with more in a moment on movies, Heath Ledger and much more on AM 640. This is A View from Space, and I'm just getting started.
Extreme radio for extreme times. This is A View from Space with the Spaceman on AM 640.
Spaceman AM 640 and A View from Space. Thanks for the emails that are already rolling in. You can contact me at space@640toronto.com or spaceman@640toronto.com. VR writes, good evening. I was nervous that the live audio streaming was disconnected. Glad I was wrong. Just delayed. Thanks for all you do. Signed, VR. For protection of the NHL Stanley Cup Finals hockey rights, the radio station I work for, AM 640 Talk Radio, cannot broadcast live audio streaming on the web. We are not digitally licensed, so we turn off our streaming and turn it back on after the conclusion of the hockey game, and that's what happened tonight. It does get a lot of people rather nervous and excited, as VR wrote in the subject line, whoosh, exclamation point. And I'm getting a few of those, so just be patient. If a hockey game is on before A View from Space hits the air, you will get your live audio streaming. MP writes, hey, Space, do you still believe that Arnold Schwarzenegger will be elected as president in 2012? Well, I did never say that Arnold Schwarzenegger would be elected president in 2012. What I did say, however, and have been saying for a few years now, is the fact that, and I just talked about Arnold Schwarzenegger the other night, on another show not long ago, with the Dominic Strauss-Kahn Masonic takedown, the former head of the IMF. And I went into how the World Bank always has an American at its head. The International Monetary Fund always has a European as its head, and now an American has temporarily, but an American has replaced Dominic Strauss-Kahn, the very man who was actually rejigging Greece's debt loans. Mr. Lipsky, who was a Goldman Sachs employee before he got the job he had there. So the international financial crisis, the global financial crisis, is actually playing a large role in the Dominic Strauss-Kahn sexual harassment trial that's coming up, and also the breakup of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I talked about him and who he married, of course, and of course Arnold Schwarzenegger, an actor in Hollywood, marrying the cursed Kennedy family. And I have been saying for years, as I was about to, that Arnold Schwarzenegger, I believe, will be America's last president. Not necessarily in 2012. I believe he will be either of the two. Now, I can qualify it by saying I believe he's going to be the last president of the United States, being the Terminator, of course, would be right along the thought lines how the Illuminati operate. And I also believe that there is a possibility that maybe he's not the last president the United States ever has, as an empire, as an entity, as the United States as we know it today. But he could possibly be the first president